Yo, welcome back to the channel. This your boy Hood from the Hood Films brand. I appreciate y'all coming to check me out again. We got a quick little story to talk about. It's a little story that's kind of going viral all over the internet, and it's basically Math Hoffa. You probably heard about it if you watch his show, $1 million worth of game. I'm sorry, it's my expert opinion, and it's been dope. I mean, like they built the show up from 0 to 1 million followers, and I kind of was watching it as soon as I caught wind of it because hip hop is hard for people to have really successful podcasts, so it's not that many. You got the basketball players podcast, but they already had a fan base because of the NBA. So the rappers, a lot of times their brands dwindle, so they don't have the same fan base they had when they was coming out initially. So the podcast game been a way to connect with the audience and build up new brands and everything like that. So you got Mav Hoffa, who was like a freestyle rapper, and he was the first one to come out of the freestyle rapping camp and make a real successful podcast, and it's doing good, and I like it. I always was watching it. All the interviews seemed interesting, but the thing about Mav Hoffa is that he would always have different people as extra guests. That's what he would have, like extra hosts. So they would be on there asking questions. I don't know if that's his homies or he just grew up with a lot of people in New York, or how they know each other, but they always together doing these shows. Some people would be tight with Mav, and some people would just be people that's just coming on the show to go build their own thing after they leave. So those friendships was like, shaky. Sometimes they didn't last. You could see them having beefs and problems and arguments, and then you could see the people leaving, and then Math would continue the show. But in recent months, he's not done a show in like a month. So it's been like a question like to why? What's going on? You got 1 million subscribers. I know you're getting paid. But in New York, it's very expensive. So he said that the landlord of the barbershop that he does not own, where he does his interviews at, came at him and said he wanted that motherfucking dude to pay him like $7,000 for the light bill in the building. So that was like crazy because he like, I ain't paying no $7,000. I'm not even in this bitch that much, that much. I just do my podcast and I leave, so I'm not paying no $7,000. So the guy was like, you can't be up in here. And then he was like, yeah, and I think you selling drugs out this bitch, because he said a bunch of black dudes coming in and out doing podcasts, and it's like 25 dudes in there. They're not really used to no barbershop. Plus the guy told Math, I want my shop to be open more than one day a week. You just do a podcast in here, but people drive past it look like my store is closed. It's not even a shutter. It's like a shutter business. So maybe people might not want to rent more property from me. So that is starting to become a conflict for Math. So he got the fuck up out of there. He said, I ain't going back to do shop. I'm finna make me a new situation. So I just seen a podcast yesterday where he has a new location, but it's not the group of guys with him no more. It's just him by himself. So some of the guys that left Math Hoffa's show is mad as hell at him over the friendships not working, maybe pay wasn't right, or whatever they was going through. They didn't like Math no more. So a lot of them was beefing. And one of the guys on there named Sean Bigger, he was on there for a while, but he left the show too. He supposedly had provided security for the shop. So once some person was interviewing him last week, and he got to arguing, not arguing, but just explaining how guys was coming up to Math Hoffa's shop, shooting guns at the shop, threatening them at the front door, trying to force them to let them in. And they just scared as hell, running in the back of the building trying to get safe. And so that went out and it went viral. Like, what? That was going on in Math shop in New York? What the fuck? So Math didn't say that. He said the landlord kicked him out the building. So when that story came out, it seemed like it was real. Like, old boy used to be on the show. And Math might not want to put that out there. It's kind of embarrassing. But since this guy don't like him no more, maybe he's telling the truth. So that went out, and everybody was pissed off about that, and it kind of went viral. So the guy is explaining himself now as to why he said that and explaining what he did. So I'm going to let y'all hear it.
I was talking about had nothing to do with the $7,000 or the light bill or anything with the lights off. So that's something that people are missing. The situation that I'm talking about happened actually a year or so ago. It happened after I left the shop, maybe a month or so after. And I think people wasn't catching what I was breaking down and what I was explaining by even explaining that story. So let's be clear. I was hurt. You know what I'm saying? I often say that. I don't hide that. So, when you ever around me or ever you see me in person and
Well, as you can see, he's been explaining himself towards that situation, and he looks kind of stupid because you put that statement out there about that guy's shop, and now you want to pull back and say you didn't mean it. But we as the audience member, we believe it because you was close to him, around him a lot. In another interview, that guy talking, Sean Bigger, said that him and Math was about to have a fight. So, well, he felt like they was about to have a fight. So when he stepped out the car at the moment, he said it calmed down. But then when other people stepped out the shop initially on that day, that's the guy, Matt Hoffa, started talking tough to him again. So he was like, what the fuck? So he didn't like that moment. So that's why he said that he felt hurt about their situation that they was going through. So, it's a lot of little rigmarole about their shop and all that shit. Is it going to be a successful shop? Is it going to ever come back? You really don't even know. You know what I'm saying? It's like, then old boy Joe Budden came at the guy, Matt Hoffa, and he was talking shit to him. I'm going to try to let y'all hear that too.
The streets is saying that it's over. It's no more my expert opinion. Then there's you, but have gotten froggy in the past few years in terms of, just having over people that smelled oppie to me, asking them questions that I didn't love all the way.
yo, stay out the hallways, man.
Yeah, on the last episode of the Joe Budden podcast,
So that guy is talking, but we're going to get back to Joe Budden.
Saigon, say, hey man, you have
Can we get it?
a family. Then
Okay, so you can't find no more Joe Budden. Let me see if I can get him on this one.
whatever Rory and Maud him mean,
Oh, this the other guys talking.
And one of those signs for me is when there's always a story. When you niggas see me at the bar for 10 years and every time I see you, it's a story about something going on in your life that involves a lot of words, I leave you and judge. I don't give a if my cast is quiet right now. I don't care. So Math is that for me. When he lost SO and them niggas, I ain't say nothing. But he did. And it was a lot of words. I wasn't that invested. And then my man, the supreme Muslim nigga.
you talking about
Super Muslim. What's my man? You know my nigga Bigger. Shout out to Bigger. Was about to try to fight Smith and Wesson. I said, holy shit. I said, holy shit. Yo, Math show is goated. He about to fight Smith and Wesson. I almost had to fight one of them niggas in Sin City. I told y'all.
Nah.
Yeah. That's my man. No shout out to him now. I didn't say nothing in either, but he did, and it was a lot of work. And then Champ left. Y'all lips cool?
I don't know nothing about the show.
And then Champ left.
Don't put that camera on me. I'll fuck you up, E.
And it was a lot of words.
Okay. Let's get to the
Then Mecca came. Look, I can drag this forever. I can do a whole body. All right, Joe, we do a face, because y'all make it sound like y'all on the edge of your seat. Look, you about to fall again. Gravity again. Well, Math is our man. We support him. But that old lease, yo, I subleased the lease. And they talking about running a commercial business. Podcasters, black podcasters. I just fought over that term, too. Let's get familiar with a commercial business and what it means in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, yes.
You seeing podcasters battle with the space they record, i.e. Adam, there's Math, there's me, there's niggas. It ain't cheap, it ain't free. Some of you niggas, I'm not talking about Math anymore, have skedaddled on the expenses. See how we pocket watch up here? We do that because you paid.
Well, you can see where this is going. So basically, Mav Hoffa is going out of his shop, and other podcasters in the game is basically dissing him and talking down on him. And that's the game. It's a competitive thing. It's competition. It's no white people making it like they companies or, like you're not in the NBA, NFL, MLB, but it's a podcast game. And so maybe you might get sponsorship from a white company. That's really what the whole hustle is. If they give you some sponsorship, then your finances could change. And, obviously ads and videos and everything else. These podcasts is a new way of getting a message out there and getting yourself some success. So that's really what it is. And so with them both having these problems with Math Hoffa, you can see Math Hoffa's. I believe he's a success story because he fucking came from nothing. And now he built up that channel to 1 million subscribers and he fucking came from nothing. So these guys might not be people that like him no more or be down with him, but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, he built it so he can revamp it, reassess it. But you know, Joe Budden was right when he come and say you have to be putting money into your businesses. That's key, especially if you got a podcast that's successful. It's almost like only a fourth of that shit should go to your living expenses, and the rest of it should go straight to the business again because you're already getting sales and you're already getting people fucking with you. But in a place like New York and some other towns, the rent is extremely high. I think I seen Math Hoffa in some penthouse. I don't know if that's where he lived, if it's a condo, I don't know. But my point about it is that it's probably expensive as hell. It's New York. So if you catching an elevator up to your crib and then it's plush inside that apartment, you're going to have to spend some money in New York. So if a person coming to you saying it's $7,000 a month for the light bill, plus it might be $7,000 a month for your goddamn rent, then if you can forget kids, food, clothes, all this, you got to be making that kind of funds. Don't know if you're making that kind of funds, but at the end of the day, this has to sustain over years. You know, it's almost like maybe doing a podcast ain't so fun because you might not want to sustain that career over years. Like me sitting right here, it's not such a hard thing to contend with. You know, obviously I got to pay my bills to contain this, but it's not like somebody else external of me is saying, hey, where's that money? Obviously it's the people who I owe the bill to, you know what I'm saying? But it's not another company. Then I got to pay them. Then I also still owe this bill. Then you got to pay for your car. Then you got to pay for clothes, food. Right? It's a lot of expenses in life in general. And then podcasting can succeed you, and then it can put you in a bind because you're trying to outlive or I think they call it outlive your money. It's some word they said. It's a you know what I'm talking about, but basically outlive your means. I think that's what it's called. It's just stuff to think about because Math is success, and I think he's gonna come back and be back on top. But this is a good way of showing everybody about keeping up with your money, focusing on your money, and not, you know what I'm saying, putting it in the wrong direction so you can maintain what you're trying to build. So that right there is what I got. Let me know if y'all know who Math is, if you agree with Joe Budden, if you agree with the other guy, Sean Bigger, for trying to apologize for lying about Math Hoffa shop getting shot up when you know it didn't happen. Let me know what y'all think about all this stuff. I'm going to hit y'all back with a new story coming right up.